I was commissioned to photograph the actor Billy Bob Thornton for the Sunday Times. And then this happened. You have an idea how a shoot will go, but always be prepared for everything to change when the photographic gods decide to throw you a bone. Now, I really like Billy Bob Thornton. He's a brilliant left field actor. I guess you could say he was esoteric, slightly odd. He was perfectly cast in the Coen brothers movie, The Man That Wasn't There. In the film, he sort of plays an enigma, inscrutable. Definitely not a Brad Pitt or a George Clooney. The kind of actor you admire rather than swoon over. However, when I shot him, he happened to be dating Angelina Jolie. She was, everyone will remember, the biggest star in the world. And at that exact moment in time, promoting Tomb Raider, she was massive. But it's important to be clear. I was not there to photograph her. I was there to shoot Billy Bob. And when you're on assignment, when you're in an assignment like that, you don't start fantasizing about the girlfriend. You do the job you've been given. We arrived at the hotel and it was as it always is, the usual conveyor belt of media. A photographer before me, an interviewer after, the publicists hovering, everyone watching the clock. You could feel there's a sort of tension. You could feel it in the corridor. Photographers readying their lighting. Interviewers pacing around, thinking about what they're going to ask. Will the interview go well? Each of us waiting for our tiny, allotted few moments. When it was my turn, I walked in, and back then, my assistant was Jessie. Statuesque, blonde, an engaging smile. And I do think that helped. I often pick an assistant according to who I'm photographing, and she was definitely a good choice. Billy Bob was exactly as you'd hoped he would be. He was playful, he had that mischievous glint. There's something quite sort of dog-like about him. I can see why women would find him very attractive. I think he enjoyed the theatre of it all. He was just having a laugh. London, the press circuit, the slightly absurd ritual of celebrity photography. You can feel it quite quickly when a shoot is working. The rhythm changes. It becomes almost joyous. Just having a laugh with a subject. So my pictures of Billy Bob were okay, but not on the same level as Chris Buck's brilliant portrait of him peeing on a colorama. I like the perversity of him disrespecting the whole process. I simply didn't have the time to do anything elaborate like that. He was engaged and playful, and even suggested we go on tour with his band. My half-hour slot started creeping into 40 minutes, then 45 minutes. I could hear the other photographers outside, shuffling, grumbling. That very British, passive-aggressive coughing. But in a situation like that, it's every man for himself. And when you've got momentum, you push it. You just keep gently shooting. Keep taking the pictures. Keep the energy flowing. Everything went quiet. I actually felt, maybe I've told the story a few times and I'm embellishing my memory, but it seemed like the atmosphere changed. Something or someone had entered the space. At that point, we were out on the balcony and a spectral being glided into the frame, Angelina. And I have to say, she must be one of the most photogenic human beings I've ever seen. She was more than beautiful or charismatic. She seemed to have an almost supernatural presence. Now, My job, as I said earlier, is to photograph Billy Bob. That was the commission. That's what I was there for. But I'm not a complete blithering idiot. If I could get a frame with Angelina, the picture editors at the Sunday Times would be very, very happy. A small feature about a little-known actor would suddenly become a cover story. The crucial thing at that point was not to look greedy. The minute you start obviously pivoting towards the bigger star, you're going to lose trust. You're going to undo all that good work. You know, we cultivated a rapport, and you don't want to lose that. We've been getting on so well, and I knew I could just keep shooting. They were in that early young love phase, slightly chaotic, slightly intense, completely wrapped up in each other. She leaned in and kissed him goodbye. You can't force those moments. You just quietly record what you've been given. Outside, the irascible photographers were silent. Their irritation had morphed into rage when they could see what I was getting. It really was perfect because at that moment in London, 2003, I think, the couple were notorious, turning up to parties, wearing vials of each other's blood around their necks. And this strange, gothic, Hollywood love story was being played out for me in Park Lane. It was definitely a moment in time, slightly mad. And I was able to give the Sunday Times the picture that literally everyone wanted. This shoot taught me something really important. Your job is to do what you've been commissioned to do. But your responsibility as a photographer is to recognize when something bigger is happening in front of you. In that situation, don't panic, don't over-direct, don't look desperate, just stay present and keep shooting. Because sometimes the story walks right into the frame. And it's happened to me a few times. I remember going to photograph David Furnish, who's married to Elton John, and then I got the big kahuna. I got the portrait of Elton. That's the strange magic of this job. You turn up for one person, and occasionally you get photobombed, but in a good way. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.